Welcome back to Everyday English Desk. I'm Ben.
And I'm Janet. We're here to help you learn English through real, natural conversations about everyday life.
And today we're talking about something people ask all the time, weekend plans.
A very common conversation topic, and honestly, a slightly dangerous one.
Dangerous?
Yes, because I think a lot of people say they want a quiet, relaxing weekend, and then somehow end up making way too many plans.
That feels very specific.
I know people who say, I'm going to have a calm weekend, and then suddenly they have brunch, errands, shopping, dinner plans, and a day trip.
That is fair. Some people become extremely optimistic on Friday afternoon.
Exactly. By Sunday night, they're exhausted and wondering what happened.
So, which one are you? Quiet weekend or busy weekend?
In theory, quiet. In reality, I usually end up doing more than I planned.
That sounds right.
I'll tell myself I'm just going to relax this weekend. And then suddenly I'm out getting coffee, meeting someone, running errands, and deciding I should reorganize my whole apartment for no reason.
That escalated very quickly.
It always does.
I'm more protective of my weekends. I like having at least part of the weekend with no real schedule.
Yes, that sounds very Ben.
I do think people have very different weekend personalities, though.
That's true.
Some people want every hour planned out, and some people don't want to commit to anything until the last possible minute. Which group are you in?
Emotionally, the spontaneous one. Realistically, somewhere in the middle.
That sounds accurate.
I like having options. I don't always want to decide on Thursday what I'm doing on Saturday.
That's fair. I'm probably a little more comfortable with a loose plan.
A loose plan is such a Ben phrase.
I think it's the best kind of plan. Enough structure that I know what I'm doing, but not so much that the weekend starts feeling like work.
See, that actually does sound ideal.
I also think weekends are different depending on how people recharge.
Yes, that's such a real thing.
Some people want to go out and be around other people.
And some people hear free weekend and think, finally, no one speak to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm a mix. I want at least one fun thing to happen, but I also need some time where absolutely nothing is expected of me.
That makes sense. I'm probably more comfortable with a quieter weekend. I like one or two things to look forward to, but I don't need the whole weekend to be full.
That feels healthy. I also think weekends feel very different depending on what kind of week you had.
Definitely.
Sometimes the weekend is for fun, and sometimes it's just for recovery.
Or for catching up on everything you didn't get done during the week.
Exactly. Laundry, groceries, cleaning, answering messages, trying to feel like a responsible adult.
All the glamorous parts of life.
Yes, weekends always sound more exciting in theory.
That's true. People imagine rest and fun, but a lot of weekends are also errands and chores.
And sleep. Sleep is important.
Very important.
I feel like people also say, I should probably a lot on weekends.
That's very true.
Like, I should probably clean my apartment, or I should probably do laundry, or I should probably go grocery shopping.
Yes, and sometimes those things happen,
And sometimes you end up watching a movie and ordering food instead.
which is also a valid weekend decision.
Thank you.
I think a good weekend usually has some balance, something useful, something enjoyable, and at least a little time to rest.
That sounds very mature.
I do my best.
I think my best weekends usually involve coffee, one fun plan, and enough free time that I don't feel trapped by my own calendar.
That's fair. I also think weekend plans are usually not as fixed as people pretend they are.
Absolutely.
Most of the time, people aren't really saying, this is definitely what I'm doing. They're saying, maybe.
Yes. Weekend plans are often very soft.
Exactly.
Like, I might get coffee with a friend, or I'm thinking about going out, or I haven't decided yet.
That sounds much more realistic.
Because sometimes you genuinely don't know yet.
Yeah, especially if someone asked too early in the week.
Exactly. If it's Wednesday, I really don't know what version of me is showing up on Saturday.
That is extremely fair. I think most people feel that way.
And then there's the other problem, when someone else wants to make plans before you've figured out what kind of weekend you want.
Yes, that can get complicated.
Because maybe you were planning to stay home, and then someone texts you, and suddenly you have to decide whether you're being social or protecting your peace.
That really is a very modern problem to have, isn't it?
It really is.
And that's why people end up saying things like, I'm not sure yet, or maybe, or I'll let you know.
Yeah, because those answers give you time.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, sometimes Friday night me and Saturday morning me are not the same person.
That may be the most accurate weekend sentence ever spoken.
Thank you. I'm awarding myself 1 internet point. I think the funniest part of weekend plans is that people always imagine the best possible version of themselves.
What do you mean?
Like on Friday, people think, this weekend I'm going to rest, clean my apartment, exercise, see friends, cook something healthy, and maybe read.
That is a very ambitious weekend.
Exactly. And then suddenly it's Sunday night and you're like, well, I did get coffee.
Which, to be fair, is still something.
Yeah, it is, I guess.
I do think people put a lot of pressure on weekends.
Yes. Like the weekend has to be productive and fun and restful and social and somehow also peaceful.
That's a lot to ask from 2 days.
Exactly. I think people are just so tired during the week that they don't want to waste their free time. They want to make the most of it.
Yeah, I agree. Which is why I think a good weekend is usually a simple one. A little rest, a little structure, maybe 1 or 2 plans, but not too many.
That sounds healthy. I think the sweet spot for weekends is having plans, but not enough plans that I start fantasizing about canceling all of them.
That is an extremely specific example.
And extremely true.
I also think Sunday has a completely different energy from Friday or Saturday.
Oh, absolutely.
Friday feels hopeful, Saturday feels open, Sunday feels a little more serious.
Yes, Sunday is when people start thinking about Monday, whether they want to or not. That's when people start talking about the Sunday scaries.
Yeah, that's a very real thing.
It really is. That feeling when the weekend is ending and you start thinking about work, responsibilities, your alarm clock, all of it. I'm getting anxious just thinking about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that, even if they don't call it that.
Exactly. Sunday starts out relaxed, and then by the evening, it suddenly feels like the fun part is over.
That's true.
And then people get this burst of energy where they feel like they should get their whole life together before Monday morning.
It's a very ambitious time of week.
Really is. Sunday night is when people decide they're going to be more organized, more productive, healthier, calmer, just a completely better version of themselves by the next day.
A classic Sunday plan.
Exactly.
I do think doing 1 or 2 small things can make Monday feel a little easier, though.
That's fair. It doesn't have to be a full reset, just enough to make Monday feel a little less painful.
That's probably the healthiest way to think about it.
Yeah, I think that's the part people forget. A good weekend doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to leave you feeling a little more like yourself again.
That's a good way to put it.
Because sometimes the best weekend is exciting, and sometimes the best weekend is just quiet enough that your brain finally calms down.
And honestly, both of those count as a good weekend.
Exactly. All right, everyone. Now we want to hear from you. Are you a quiet weekend person or a busy weekend person? And what do you usually do on weekends? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to know.
And if you enjoyed the video, give it a like.
And subscribe to the channel for more real English conversations. Thanks for listening to Everyday English Desk, and we'll see you next time.